AutoCAD has a tool in it that will record what you do, save it, and play it back again, recreating exactly what you did. There's a lot of potential in this, but yet it can also be difficult to find a way to apply it. It's frustrating sometimes, but it's a really cool tool that you can use. This tool is called the Action Recorder. The Action Recorder will record your actions just as the title says it would, and you can save them in a file that you can play later. You can even share that file with others so that they can play it back as well. These action macros, as they're called, can be completely automated, or they can ask you for some user input. Let me create a simple action macro. We'll edit the recording and then we'll use it later on. To do this, you go to your Manage tab on the ribbon, and we have the Action Recorder panel right here. This is the action tree. If you click on that button and it'll expand that out. These are the actions that are being recorded or that were recorded so that you can see what's going to happen. And that's very simple. This is your list right here of action macros. We don't have any right now. Now to record one, you just click the record button. It'll be highlighted like this and your crosshairs will have that red little circle. That tells you you're recording. Anything we do now will be recorded. So let's just draw something very simple. Let's draw a polygon because we want to draw a hex head bolt. So let's say we need 6 items, and as you can see, as we do things, it's recorded right here. The polygon command is there. We need 6 sides. Press enter. The value of 6 was saved. And now let's pick a specific center, and it can be anywhere in this case. Inscribed or circumscribed, it doesn't matter right now for me. Let's turn on our ortho command. Now you can see the ortho command toggling off and on wasn't recorded, but our view change was when we zoomed in or zoomed out. Now let's just give this a value of 1 just for simplicity's sake. And now we're finished. Now we want a circle. So let's create a circle. And we'll draw that at 0.75. And there's our hex head bolt in plan view. So we see everything that was recorded, the polygon command, 6 sides, our insertion point, it's inscribed, we zoomed out, 1 unit sides, then we drew our circle, and there we go. So now that we're done, we click stop. Now this is where it's saved at. We can change that, we can find it, we can move it. Later on, we can share it with people, and we can even give it a name. So let's call this one hex head bolt plan. And click OK. Well, there are some things that you can't put in the name, special characters. They can only be alphanumeric, so we'll have to keep that in mind, which is unfortunate, but that's just what happens. We'll call it hex head bolt. And this is the exact file name right here. This is the folder path where it's being saved at. When you're done, click OK. So now, if I erase this and I want to show it again, I can just come to my list, find the one I want, hex head bolt, press play, and there it is. Say, okay, that's kind of nice, but why can't I just use a block? That's a very good question, and that's a problem that a lot of people come into with using the action recorder. Let's make some changes on this. Let's change this point right here, and we want to right-click on it, and we can say pause for user input. Okay, so now that's going to change. So when I hit play, it starts my command and everything else, but when it asks for my insertion point, I can tell it, put that bolt head right there. And it will. So I can keep doing this. I can draw bolt holes anywhere I want all day long. And I can make changes to it. Any of these options that are here, I can make them pause for user input. I can change the size in here. I can ask them to give those options. So there is actually a lot that I could do with this. And a lot of times blocks make a lot more sense, but you can set up something that's essentially kind of like a block, but it allows for input as it's being drawn. Action macros can be a pain because they replay exactly the way they were created. And they can't record any work done in a dialog box, just the command line. Well, if we open up our hex head bolt plan that we made before, just pick it and then click on the down arrow to expand your action tree. This allows you access to the actions inside the macro. Let's go ahead and pin this to make sure it stays there. I don't want it to leave accidentally. We can always bring it back easy enough, but I want it to stay for now. So if we open this up and we look at it, we can see that we made some changes to it early on right here. And to edit this action tree, you just pick on your actions and you can right click on it. You can delete things, you can take them out, or you can make changes to it. Here's the process that you want to use. You record your actions, commands and input values, and they're captured and they're displayed in your action tree. After recording is stopped, then you're going to want to go back, obviously save the macro first, and then go back into your commands and change any input to the action macro file. That way it can be played back. You want to change a lot of the different things in it. Once an action macro is saved, you can specify your base points, insert user messages, or change the behavior of the recorded input values. You can make them pause for a new input value during playback. You can also manage the recorded action files with the Manage Action Macros button up there. So you record an action macro. You then use the action recorder to record commands and input values. That's what you're doing with that. Then you have some other options here. You can delete the things that are in here if you want, but typically you're not going to want to do that. You have essentially then two different options. You can insert a user message. So like if we start at the very top, right click, say insert user message, we can make it say anything. Say, this macro creates a hex head bolt in plan view. My caps lock was on, but you can do that in any way you want. And you see here's the user message. If I right click on it, I can edit it or I can delete it. So if I press play now, this is the message we get. This macro creates a hex head bolt in plan view. Close, and now I start. And I can put another message in here that says pick your insertion point if I wanted to do that. And that could be done here. Insert user message, pick insertion point. Okay, so now if I play, it gives you the message, and now I pick my insertion point, and there you go. And now it's done. Now, that may not be necessary. Sometimes your action macros may not be used by yourself or other people all the time, and so you're not exactly sure what they do or what the process is inside them. And that's okay. We have right here, pause for user input. I can turn that off or on, but if I don't, then every time I go to play this, it says pick my insertion point, but it won't let me. It's going to draw it at those coordinates. So something like this, you definitely want to pause for user input. Now I can do the same here. I can right click, I can edit this, meaning I can make that value, not 200, let's make it 2 units. So now that will change it. Or I can say pause for user input. Now be careful though, because once you change a value of something in here, it may affect what happens. So you need to be careful. But those are your options to just make some changes in here. You can take this circle out altogether if you don't like it. And you can stretch this down here while you're working on it so you can see everything, because sometimes they can get quite long. Now, it just depends on what you need to do and what you need done. Let's edit this. And there you go, there's that. So that's how you edit your macros. That's what you do with them. Now, when you come up to a list here, maybe you have a long list of different things. Right now, we only have the one. I click on the Action Macro Manager. This will show me the macros that I have. I can select it, I can copy it, I can give it a new name. And now I can make this hex head bolt, maybe it's 1 inch, 1 unit. And I can change this one now to draw a 2 unit macro, whatever I need to do. I click on the modify, that's just to change the name, and it will change different views for us here, check for inconsistencies, and give it a description. That's what I can do here. In my options button, this will change the folder where your action recordings are saved at. So if you have a place on your server at your company you work at, everyone can save them there to the same place. That way, whenever you create one If you needed it, somebody else might too, so they can access it as well. And the same thing, if someone else makes one, perhaps you can access it also. And you can get to some of those different options right here. You have some preferences set up to where you can expand different things on your playback, on your recording. That's expanding your list here. You can turn those off and on. And this button here is just your manager. So that's the action macro, and that's how you can edit it, manage it, and do some other things to it. I have a couple of things I wanted to remind you about before we finished up working with the action recorders. By default, all action macros created in AutoCAD are saved on your local hard drive. You can just browse to them like you would any other file and move them to the place in your company's network so that everyone can use them. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to the effort to make them, to edit them, and to manage them, you want to make sure you can save them. So make sure to keep track of them, because if you made them, you're going to want to keep them. So keep that in mind. And remember your options. You can get to them just by typing in options and going to the Files tab, and then scroll down to your action recorder settings. Expand this list out. Now this right here is the folder on your hard drive in your local machine that they're going to be saved at. Now you can also add additional files or folders where you can read them from. You won't save them there, but you'll be able to recall them from there. So that can be a place on the server where you can save them to or access them at. So from here, I can remove this, and then I can browse to wherever it is on my server that I want to save these files to. And here, if you have another source, then you can reference them right here. So this is good for managing your action recording files. So let's say you are the CAD manager, and maybe you don't want everyone to have access to all of the action recorders made by everyone for a lot of reasons. One is that someone makes it incorrectly, or maybe it's not useful to different departments and you don't want to create this giant list. So maybe you have just a set of folders that are company approved, or maybe they're just a department approved. You can add those here. I can add a folder, I can browse to it. Let's just say add my C drive here real quick. I can add another one. So I can keep adding things. So I can have a folder set up for maybe like your survey department, and then there's one set up for the engineering department, and then there's another one set, etc. So you can do that. But you can only set up one folder to save into. So keep that in mind for yourself and for your other users as well.